Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to talk about a bunch of new trademarks that have gone and been registered. Basically, we've got a bunch of new sets coming out in the Pokémon TCG, and we should be very excited about this, because they're bringing a bunch of very, very, very cool stuff. And you should be excited. Now, it is worth noting that no, this is not official or anything like that. These are trademarks that have gone and been given out. But remember when, like, V-Star Universe was just a trademark over in Japan? And then it turned out to be a set. We've been doing this for a while at this stage. By the way, I mean people like myself, the lovely Primal Lugia, the lovely Matthew Varai of Immunity, and we're pretty good on this, honestly. So I don't think we need to be too upset. Our Triple Beat was one we looked at a little while ago, and that is, of course, the new set, which is coming out very shortly. So, yeah, let's not get too upset about this, ladies and gentlemen. I am not 100% guaranteeing these are new sets, because it could be something weird going on, but I'm telling you our hit rate so far is literally 100%, so, you know, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So, we'll have a look at what's coming out, and then we'll have a look at how that matches up with what we've seen so far. So, the first one that we've got, which is going to be coming out in the not too distant future, is Ruler of the Black Flame. I think that's what it's called. Ruler of the Black Flame. And this looks like it's going to be our Scarlet and Violet 3A set, which I've had a chat with a lovely Primal Lugia. We think it's going to be September. We'll go through the whole list in a minute at the end to make things a little bit easier. But we're thinking this is going to be a September set. And Ruler of the Black Flame, I've basically got two options for you. Now, I feel better about one of these than the other. The one I feel less good about is Cerulege. And basically because this, I mean, look, it's a Ghost Fire Pokemon that's pretty prominent. So it kind of makes sense in that regard, all right? The problem is we just got Armor Rouge, like, casually in Scarlet and Violet 1. And it would be weird if Cerulege then got its own set in Scarlet and Violet 3A. That doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. These are very much, you know, they're a pair of Pokemon. You know, one's in Scarlet, one's in Violet. I'm not telling you which one's which. They are pretty obvious if you look at the colours. But my point is, I don't understand why they would be treated so differently. So, yes, it is a Ghost Fire Pokemon, Ruler of the Black Flame. Seems to make sense. But to be perfectly honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not seeing it, and I don't think it's going to be a thing. Sorry about that. So if that's not it, who's it probably going to be? Chi-Yu. The fish. The dark fire type fish. Now again, I am not promising. Sometimes I think they're really obvious. Sometimes the set names, you can look at them and go, oh yeah, no, that's pretty big. You know, when I saw Triple B, I called that it was going to be the first partner Pokemon from Gen 9. But it wasn't like some huge clairvoyant prediction. It was the first mini set, which is where they usually introduce the evolved first partner Pokemon. And it was called Triple Beat. So, yes, we called it, but my point is that was a pretty obvious one. Some of them are. This one I don't think is. Chi-Yu is my main guess here, but let's be perfectly clear, I'm not 100%. Now, this I'm expecting to be Sword and Shield 3A, like I said. I do think, and we talked about this before, that Sword and Shield 2 looks like it's going to be Clayburst and Snow Hazard, and Clayburst is going to be Ting Lu, and Snow Hazard is going to be Chen Pao. Now, again, I can't guarantee that, but these seem like really on the nose. It seems just that the names make so much sense, and it's a second main set, which is exactly when they'll be bringing in these legendaries generally. It just makes way too much sense to me. So given that Scarlet and Violet 2 would be bringing in some of these legendary Pokemon, Sword and Shield 3A bringing in at least one more kind of makes sense, but it does feel a little bit late. Like, you're talking about 5 months after we saw Snow Hazard and Clayburst bringing in 2 of them. And then, of course, you got the question of, well, what about the other dude? What about the one nobody really likes? What about Wo Chen? Do they not get their own set? So, I'm not 100% on this. This is the best I can do, and I'm sorry. But one which I think is way easier to figure out, what is almost certainly going to be Scarlet and Violet 4, which we're pegging for an October release, Flash of the Future, and Ancient Raw. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. This is perfect. This is way too perfect. It's a double set, which means it's going to be a main set. And, well, again, we don't know it's a double set, but the way it's coming around, coming out on the same day, clearly being, the future and the past, it's too perfect. It's too perfect not to be a double set. And clearly, we've got one feature in the Paradox Pokemon from the past, and one feature in the Paradox Pokemon from the future. It's just too perfect. Now, at this stage, some of you might be going, well, hang on a second, Wassy. We've already seen Paradox Pokemon. We had Paradox Pokemon in the Scarlet and Violet base set over in Japan. We had Iron Treads and we had Great Tusk. For what it's worth, I really like Great Tusk. I think as a card, it's going to be pretty cool. So, are they really going to wait until Scarlet and Violet 4 to bring in these Paradox Pokemon? And the answer is, this isn't a set that brings in Paradox Pokemon, except maybe one exception, we'll get there in a minute. This is a set that celebrates Paradox Pokemon. It's not that it's the first time we've ever seen them. It's the one that really goes, hey, you know what? Paradox Pokemon are cool. Like, does anybody think it's a coincidence that the only Paradox Pokemon that were in Scarlet EX and Violet EX, the first set in Japan, were the Paradox versions of Donphan, who just so happened to be the only ones that were revealed, kind of, in advance of the game releasing? It's not. Scarlet and Violet didn't go full Paradox Pokemon. Scarlet and Violet EX, a Japanese set, they went, hey, here's a little taster. In the same way we had that trailer which gave us a little bit of a taster in advance. That is the point. This is going to be the set that brings them in properly. But there's more. Because remember, with the Pokemon Presents this week, we actually introduced 2 new Paradox Pokemon. We've got Iron Leaves, that is, of course, the future version of Virizion, and then Walking Wake, which is, of course, the past version of Suicune. Now, I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. Again, now, let's be perfectly clear. I am not saying that this is going to be the deal, all right? I am not saying that these are coming out. What I am saying is it would make sense. Because if Iron Leaves and Walking Wake were revealed so much later than all of the others, it would make sense that they would be, released in the TCG so much later than the others. So this, and I don't know, this is pure speculation on my part, let's be clear, but it makes perfect sense that these ones would be introduced that little bit later. Yeah? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, that seems to make sense to me. Although, I was trying to get Iron Leaves yesterday, and oh my goodness, that thing was annoying me, ladies and gentlemen. And then I started, I gave up trying to do it solo, and I just went and got groups online, and they kept failing too. It was like, hey, sword dance, get one hit KO'd. Nasty block, get one hit KO'd. I had like multiple ones where none of my teammates attacked once. They all just boosted or lowered stats and then got one hit KO'd anyway. So me and Iron Leaves have got a bit of a beef going on. We're going to have to sort that one out. My point here very simply is this would make sense for them. Flash of the Future and Ancient Raw, it would make sense. But even if they do introduce those new Pokemon, I still think we're looking at a full Paradox Pokemon set. That doesn't mean every card is going to be a Paradox Pokemon or anything stupid like that. It means that there's going to be a whole bunch of them. I could see all the Paradox Pokemon being given some love in this particular set. And, we know that each of the games, Scarlet and Violet, each of them has a particular Paradox Pokemon that is the main Paradox Pokemon, the one that was essentially like the final boss at that point. I mean, come on. We had Iron Valiant over in Pokemon Violet, the Gardevoir/Gallade one, because it really is very clearly like a mixture of the two. And then we had Roaring Moon in Scarlet, which is very much just old school Salamence. And I kind of love them, ladies and gentlemen. We all know they're going to get EXs, right? Like, we know they're getting EXs in the set, right? They kind of have to. Now, I think there's basically two options here. So, we've got Ancient Roaring Moon, just putting that one out there, which is going to have Roaring Moon as the cover Pokemon. And then we're going to have Flash in the future with Iron Valiant as the cover Pokemon. Or we're going to have Ancient Roar with Walking Wake as the cover Pokemon, and Flash in the future with Iron Leaves as the cover Pokemon. Either way, I could see all four of those getting EXs in the set. That's where I think we are, quite frankly. That's my prediction. Now, if we see how that kind of all settles out, so we got Triple Beat, which comes out next Friday. We've then got the double set Snow Hazard and Clayburst. That is the Ting-Lu and Chen Pao set, which is coming out on April the 14th. We do have a date for that. We've then got the 151 set with all the 151, which is coming out on June the 16th. That's Scarlet and Violet 2A. We've then got, we assume, Raging Surf, which we assume is Scarlet and Violet 3, and we assume is coming out in July, though that is not confirmed. That is going to be, again, we don't know, but we're assuming that is going to be the Goldengo set. And bearing in mind, right, we're talking about Pokemon number 1000 that literally has a surfboard. Like, that seems too easy, honestly, that one. That one really does seem to be Goldengo. We've then got Ruler of the Black Flame, which is Scarlet and Violet 3A, we assume. Coming in September, we assume. And then this double set Flash in the Future and Ancient Roar, which we assume is going to be Scarlet and Violet 4, and we assume is going to be coming in October. Everything up till the 151 set, we've actually seen listings in Japan, so it's as good as official. Everything from Raging Surf onwards, we're essentially looking at the trademarks and extrapolating out, but like I've said, we've been doing that for a while, and we've proven to be pretty gosh darn good at it. And one more shout out to lovely Primal Lugia, because I did hit them up yesterday and we had a good chat about this and got it all straight. They are one of my favourite people in the Pokemon community. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this. I want to know your predictions. I want to know which Paradox Pokemon you're looking forward to getting in the game. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk Pokemon and card games and all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and just generally have an awful lot of fun. Oh, and get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Joseph Fagette, who is one of our supporters and seems to be a very lovely person. So thank you very much for all the support and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.